Welcome back, Lightning Within 5 listeners. I'm your host, Jennifer Jensen, alongside
Airman First Class Zishan Naeem.
How's everyone doing today?
You know, it's good vibes. It's Friday.
Yeah. Friday. There's been a lot happening on base. We had our Summer Fest. Naeem, you got to shoot that. That was pretty cool, right?
Yeah, it was. We got to see a bunch of pretty big country artists. We saw Blanco Brown, Lone Star, and Clay Walker.
Yeah.
It was a cool experience.
There was a really good turnout for that.
Bunch of people, yeah.
I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
It was hot. It was really hot. That's just one example of all the awesome events that FSS does here. They have so many more coming up, but it's not like huge things all the time, right? Like they had a painting class, they do a book club. There's a whole bunch. If you check out their website, they have a Facebook page, the 325th FSS, and they also have their own website, I believe. But yeah, if you are a Tyndall person and you need something to do, go check them out because they're really rocking it out.
Yeah, I'd definitely recommend checking them out, especially if you're new to base, like maybe just PCS here or a brand new airman straight out of tech school. There's a bunch of opportunities to meet new people and network, do some fun, something that you enjoy.
Yeah. I think the best thing for the summertime anyway is their Shell Island shuttle. Mm-hmm. So you can take a boat with FSS out to Shell Island. I think it's free. I want to say it's free. But
I can't say. Yeah, I have no idea. No.
You're like, I'm not a water person.
I can't swim, so I mean. Yeah.
That's true. I forgot. The one time we did go swimming, that was not enjoyable.
It was fun, but like I overestimated my natural capabilities of being able to swim. Yeah.
You did.
Yeah, the end result wasn't fun, but it was a good experience.
We took a pontoon boat out as a team and just had a day where we can like focus and unwind as a team. And we went out to Shell Island. I know I jumped off the boat and got a foot full of urchin quills. Mm-hmm. That was great. Yeah. And didn't you go off the double-decker slide and burn your legs?
Yeah, I did. I tried doing a front flip. Like, I don't know. I knew I can't swim. I had a life jacket on, so, I was safe. But wanted to do it for the experience. And belly flop hurt. But you live and you learn.
Yeah. Oh, man. Okay. Recently on base, we congratulated our newest staff sergeants. One of them being our very own Airman Nordheim. We're so proud.
Let's go.
There's so many things happening. We have checkered flag coming up. We know how much you guys love us talking about checkered flags, so I'm sure it'll be brought up here soon. We have a bunch of visiting units coming for that. But the big topic, especially for this episode, is we are now in the serious season of hurricanes.
Yep, peak season.
Yep. So we believe that it's so important for y'all to be ready at all times for this because knock on particle board, but we hope that another Hurricane Michael never happens. But should something along those lines come, we want everyone to be aware of what to do, how to do it, and what to expect out of that whole experience. Naeem, you've never been through a hurricane, have you?
I have not, no, thankfully. But, I know it's always a possibility living in this area. So just awareness and readiness is vital.
Yep. It was a different vibe. I used to live in Tampa, and all the locals in Tampa would say, oh, we've never gotten hit by a hurricane as long as I've lived here for 40 years, So we would have smaller ones like a 1 or a 2 come through, but everybody in Tampa, unless it hits like a 4, all they're doing is having hurricane parties. Yeah. We do not recommend that. We don't recommend doing that. Yep. Like, always be aware and always be ready to evacuate at any moment during those times.
Yeah, you never know when one's going to hit. Just staying ready just in case one does hit. That's very important for you, your pets, your family.
Yeah, and later on in the episode, we're going to have some special guests talking specifically, about all the details that go into hurricane planning, what you need to be ready. But let's talk on a smaller scope. Naeem, do you have a hurricane kit? Do you know what needs to go in a hurricane kit? He's so ashamed right now.
I currently don't have one. That's all on me. I know there's certain things that we're recommended to have, and it's on me for not being readily prepared. But don't be like me. have your essential 24, 48-hour kits, food, water, all the essential stuff you need for surviving a hurricane. In case you need to evacuate too, be ready.
Yeah. I don't call my kit a hurricane kit. I call it a zombie apocalypse kit.
Yeah.
Because should that happen, I'm so ready. Oh my gosh, I'm so ready. I would be, I know this is sad to say, but I would probably be excited for a zombie apocalypse.
I played enough Call of Duty to prepare myself.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
No, you did not. So in your kit,
Yeah.
FEMA recommends that you put water, at least 1 gallon per person per day. That's a lot of water. I got 2 kids. I got 3 dogs.
Yeah.
You have 2 cats. You have to remember your cats. Yep. You have to put food for several days. I personally, I don't want to call myself a prepper, but I have MREs stashed, like a box of MREs.
Damn.
Yeah. I don't think my kids will be a fan of those if the need arises to eat them, but they're there. It also says batteries, flashlights, first aid kit, a whistle? I don't know. Oh, okay. I get the whistle. So let's say floodwaters come in and you're stranded. I think a whistle would bring help to you.
Like attention.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
Like Rose on the Titanic.
I mean, I'd be long gone before I even blew the whistle.
Oh yeah, because you can't swim.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll come get you, Naeem. It'll be fine. Maybe you should just keep a floaty or something in your house, in your kit. You know?
Smart idea. Yeah, I should actually buy my own life jacket just in case that happens.
For you and your cats.
Yep.
It also says plastic sheeting, scissors, and duct tape. So that I can see being used for your windows, right? To keep the shards of glass from getting.
Sliding,
Yeah. Garbage bags, moist towelettes, baby wipes.
Okay.
Baby wipes make sense. It says common household tools, a can opener, paper maps, and cell phone chargers. All makes sense. But essentially, you can find all these hurricane checklists online. Some people that have just moved here are probably I'm fine, No. Last year we had a scare with Helene.
Yep.
So when you found out that you got Tyndall, was hurricane season even a thought in your mind?
I mean, I knew Hurricane Michael was the thing, one Google search away.
Right.
It might just be me, but I didn't really consider another hurricane happening. I was just a lot of construction. But
yeah.
Doing more research and being here for a while, you understand that we're in a red zone. We're in a hot zone for hurricanes.
Yeah.
Just coming to grow and understand that we need to be ready. I don't have my hurricane kit yet, but yeah.
I mean, essentially, if you evacuate, you should be good. But it's also when Tampa had to evacuate last year, the main highway out of Tampa, I believe it was I-75, just gridlocked for hours on end. People were running out of gas because they were sitting on the highway for so long. So at what point is that the smarter choice? You know what I mean? I think we have different options because we have a couple of roads that can get us out of here. But at the same time, everybody's, I don't know. I'm torn. I get the point of evacuation. I think if they were calling for a Cat 5, a 4 or 5, I would get out.
Yep.
If a Cat 3 came up and they were yeah, well, you probably should, I'd be I'll be all right. I live in a brick house.
For me, what the commander says,
oh yeah, you don't have a choice.
Yeah. I mean, I know the commander is not everything is only his opinion. It's,
right.
Recommended from professionals such as Mr. Spikes from the EOC and then everybody else in the EOC. So, a bunch of collective research and opinions go together to have the commander, Colonel Bergtholdt, make the final decision. So what the final decision is, I trust in.
Yes.
That's the right decision.
Yes, I think there is a huge misconception among, Tyndall population that Colonel Beat is the sole man making all these decisions about the well-being of the entire base and its populace. That is the furthest thing from the truth. I sat through a CAT meeting last year, and it is literally the entire team and the weather experts giving him every option under the sun, and they collectively come together and decide what is best for Tyndall personnel. So I just don't like how people paint him to be a bad guy during hurricane season when he has to make these big decisions. Can you imagine that pressure?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of pressure. I know it's easy to spread, misinformation, but actually taking a step back before you type something up and thinking about
Yes.
what leads up to all this decision making. I feel like that'd be beneficial to a lot of people.
Yes. And understanding the fact that these leaders are not going off of your emotions. Like, we get it. A lot of people do get scared during these situations. Like, it's not a good time. But they take emotion out of the equation, and they're just using facts. They're using weather facts. They're using safety facts. Like, they're taking into consideration all the things adding up to an evacuation.
Yep.
So please be kind. I mean, last year we tried to communicate so much to let everybody know. We did a podcast on it. We had Colonel Bergtholdt on Facebook with videos telling you updates every time we made it hurricane change.
Yep.
So if there's a better way to communicate with y'all, let us know. Literally write to me and Naeem so we can do something as a PA team to get this information to you. We send out, emails to the entire base. What else do we do? Instagram, everything.
Social media,
Yeah.
Whatever the best way of contact is to the local populace and even Tyndall community is, we're going to try accessing that and informing everybody as much as possible.
Absolutely. We have to do our job.
Yeah. And, Colonel Berthold, a bunch of other people who are ROEs, they're actually staying here during the hurricane while everybody else is evacuating. So
okay.
It's not a selfish decision or anything. Like,
No,
we're doing what's logically the best for everybody that's a part of the Tyndall community.
Yep. And we also have a team that the ride out element, that is the ROE. So they're actually going to bunker down, right, in the EOC more than likely, and sit here in our hurricane resistant buildings now and get all the communications they can, because they have high tech in that building so that their comms don't go down and they can stay up to date on what's going on. But they're the ones, as soon as the hurricane's over, they're pushing information out about the condition, like telling people to stay away, we're not safe yet, or come on in, we got to clean up and get back to our mission. So, and I'm sure our guests can go into further detail about those, but I don't think people understand that when a hurricane happens, everybody's working.
Yeah.
Like, we might evacuate, but the second it is safe for our people to come back, we're trying to get back to the mission and get going again. So you do BRE.
Yep.
And I am the EFAC, so Emergency Family Assistance Center PA rep.
Okay.
I just learned what this was.
Yeah. I have no idea what that is. No.
So, fun fact, let's say, like last year, Tampa had that hurricane.
Yep.
So if they evac their people and their people need assistance, whether it's counseling for like trauma they experienced, or if they need Red Cross funds, or, somewhere to shelter, we will turn our gym into a temporary shelter, house however many people we can. We'll have food and all that good stuff. But I go there so I can communicate to those people in the shelter what's happening in case they lost cell phone service, or, they don't have a way of communicating with their loved ones. Like, I go there to be the communication piece. I thought it was very interesting.
No, that's pretty important. I mean,
yeah,
just being stranded without a cell phone.
Right.
If you really think about it, you're carrying a lot of responsibility with that.
Yeah. And like, if you have kids, like,
yeah.
I can't imagine. I'm glad that we as an Air Force take care of each other as different installations. I did not even know that was a thing. Like last year with Helene, I know that we took in the MacDill Canine team.
Yep.
That was pretty cool. I didn't know that we could do things like that, but knowing that we take care of each other in time of need, I think that's super important for people to understand.
Yeah, no, I mean, sure, there's different match comms or whatever, but at the end of the day, it's one team, one fight.
Right.
And looking out for our people, that's one thing we pride ourselves on. So,
yeah. And you miss it so much when you get out, you come back as a civilian like me.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. We're going to wrap it up with Naeem and myself. And when we come back, we will have our special guest talking all things hurricane. So stick around.
This episode of Lightning Within 5 is brought to you by the 325th Fighter Wing Public Affairs Shop. For all the latest news, photos, videos, and more, check out our Facebook page, Instagram, and our official website, tyndall.af.mil.
We are here today to talk about all things hurricane, and our first guest being our very own commander of the 325th Fighter Wing, Colonel Christian Bergtholdt. Welcome back, sir.
Thanks for having me.
All right, sir. So it is peak hurricane season, right? And you are on your toes with all things hurricane.
That's right.
So tell us a little bit about what we're doing to prepare everybody on Team Tyndall or the 325th Fighter Wing for hurricane season.
Yeah, so it's I'd say a multi-pronged approach for the base populace writ large. It's education. For our command teams and our tenant units, it's a hurricane exercise that we just executed, full-scale hurricane exercise a couple weeks ago. And then daily, our weather team obviously keeps an eye on the weather and what's going out in the Atlantic and in the Gulf.
You mentioned our weather team. I don't know that a lot of civilian listeners know that we have our very own weather shop, but when you're doing all these hurricane exercises, or if a hurricane is a potential threat, you look to them to provide you the facts and all the science-y things, correct?
Yeah, so we, like you said, we've got a weather team that they're doing weather things 24/7. So they are there day and night every single day through the holidays. Doesn't matter what's going on, they are looking at the weather. Because obviously we've got people and assets to protect on Tyndall. We've got a flying mission, and weather affects all those things.
All right, sir. Could you walk us through what your role as a fighter wing commander is during a hurricane?
Yeah, so as the fighter wing commander and as the installation commander, responsible for, like I said, protecting people and assets. That's kind of the big picture. And then more specifically, it's ensuring that we've got a coordinated response if we need to prepare for a hurricane arrival.
During a natural disaster or a hurricane, how does the base coordinate with the local emergency management or other military installations during a threat?
Yeah, so that happens on a couple different levels. At my level, my honorary commander, for example, works at Bay County, and so last year during Hurricane Helene, we talked quite a bit about what they were seeing and what they were thinking about. Likewise, talking with Commander Mosey over at Naval Support Activity Panama City. And then at the lower level, at the EOC level, we send a representative to sit over in the Bay County EOC. And then we've got constant coordination back and forth about local conditions, what they're planning for, what they're doing, and vice versa. And then we communicate with Bay Districts of schools as well to see what they're planning.
So what you're saying is you are not the only person making these big, huge decisions for the entire populace of Tyndall Air Force Base.
I mean, ultimately the responsibility lies with me, but yeah, we've got an entire team that is looking at the problem. We try and take emotion out of it and deal with the facts or the information that we have available, and then make decisions on, do we need to move aircraft? Do we need to evacuate people? Do we need to evacuate everyone, or is it just certain counties, so on and so forth?
That's right, because last year with Hurricane Helene, we as Bay County didn't evacuate, right? But you had Tyndall personnel in a bunch of other outlining counties that had to evacuate, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, and that we didn't even get down to the most severe Hurricane levels, did we?
We ended up pausing. I think we paused at Hurricane 2. And if people don't know, Hurricane, it's a timeline and an associated checklist that go with it that counts down to when damaging winds could arrive on the installation. And last year, we weren't expecting damaging winds on Tyndall, but we were going through the checklist. And so that's why we paused, I think, at Hurricane 2. And then skipped Hurricane 1, essentially when damaging winds would arrive, and went straight into recovery.
But the people that lived out in Port St. Joe, they had to evacuate because they were in the danger zone, right?
They were certainly closer, but I wouldn't say they were in the danger zone. Like they were not going to experience a direct hit, but they were on the edges of those impacting winds.
Okay, so when it comes to safety of your people, last year a lesson that we learned is people thought that when we evacuated the jets first, that was you putting the jets, the assets, if you will, before the people. But that is not the appropriate way to look at it, right?
You can't move assets without people. And with jets, there's obviously limitations on taking off and landing, the types of conditions they can be in. So the closer severe weather gets, we might have crosswinds along with a wet runway and low ceilings, which would prevent us from evacuating aircraft. Oh, by the way, the longer we wait to evacuate aircraft, the longer we have to have airmen out on the line working and preparing those jets. So typically, we are going to evacuate jets before we ever have to or need to evacuate people. It's just out of an abundance of caution. And they are expensive, right? The American taxpayer would have a lot of questions if we left jets on the ramp and they got damaged.
Very true. And when we evacuate the jets, they go to another Air Force base that has the space for them, right?
Correct, yep.
Yeah. We're going through all of the processes for a hurricane. So if a hurricane were to hit within 24 hours and you and the team are fully aware, like you as the commander, what are you doing? Like, are you going to the EOC and setting up camp, or like how does that work for you?
Let's back up. Let's back up to 5 days prior.
Okay.
Okay. 5 days prior, we're standing up the walk or the Wing Operations Center, and the walk consists of group commanders and squadron commanders, WSA chiefs. There's a whole bunch of other people in there. Tenant units are going to send representatives as well. And that's where we're going to kind of set the baseline from weather, and we're going to begin to track this.
Gotcha.
And so a hurricane for us might be south of Cuba, still be pretty far out. And modeling it that when it's that far out can be tricky, right? Mm-hmm. So with Hurricane Helene last year, if you were to look back at the history, it was trending pretty darn close to Tyndall.
Yeah.
Right? So people started to get pretty nervous about what that means. You had some people talking about this is exactly like Hurricane Michael, which is impossible. Every hurricane is different because the oceanographic and atmospheric conditions are different every time. So as the week progresses, we are meeting at least twice a day to review updates from the National Weather Service and the Hurricane Center and assessing what actions we need to take. And already at Hurricane 5, we're going to start to prepare people. We're starting to get processes in place. We'll be asking units to clean up things that are outside. They might need to be getting sandbags, and then airmen prepping the battle space for what they can expect.
Yeah.
As the week goes along, we've got plans to what aircraft are staying on station and where are they going to go, what aircraft are leaving, and that's not just our aircraft, that's the WEG's aircraft as well.
Yeah.
Let's say worst case scenario, we think that we have a need to evacuate people. And that could happen for a variety of reasons. It could be purely storm surge. So we're not expecting high winds, but we're expecting some storm surge that'll affect a variety of people. Or it could be high winds. And so we're evacuating either some or all people. So you get to the 24-hour point, me and a host of other people are going to hunker down here on base. And it's called the ride-out element. There's another element called the base recovery element. They could either stay on base or they could be positioned a couple hours away so that they can get on base as soon as possible.
Naeem, you're on that team, right?
Yeah, I know. After Tyndall's out of the hurricane zone, we, as BRE, we come back and we help with cleaning up debris and first or like initial assessment of damages, pretty much.
I'm glad you know what you're supposed to be doing. Okay, and so while you're in the EOC with the ride-out team, what are you guys doing? You're just monitoring the weather and you're waiting for it to actually come and hit? Yeah?
Pretty much.
That's crazy.
Pretty much. As we head into those last couple hours, we will, reestablish communication with command teams that have evacuated. Make sure we've got a good communication plan in place. And then, like you said, we're just making sure everything's buttoned up. We'll, security forces and others will be doing last minute checks on dorms and houses to make sure people have in fact evacuated. The gates will get locked. And just waiting for it to hit. All of our new facilities are designed to a quasi Miami-Dade hurricane rating, which means that they are resistant to winds up to 165 miles an hour.
Does that give you a little bit more comfort?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this building, the wing headquarters, the new dorms, the new lodging, all the new facilities will be rated to that point. So,
but that's not to tell people, oh, you should probably hunker down in these buildings.
Absolutely not.
Don't do that.
And I get that question a lot. Like, so because we've got these strong buildings, does it mean we don't have to evacuate? Well, the thing to consider is that we could lose power for days after a hurricane. So sustaining people and having perishable food, it just wouldn't make sense to keep everybody here.
Yeah.
I know previously you were the OG commander. How did your role change? What big differences were from transitioning from that to being the wing commander?
Yeah, so from operations group commander to wing commander, big jump in obviously the scope and scale of the responsibility. So operations group, relatively small, obviously an important mission, and we've got aircraft and things like that to consider as well. To wing and installation commander, it's a whole lot more people. We've got the installation to worry about, and then as well as the 10 units, right? How do we make sure that they're taken care of and we're accounting for during that hurricane prep?
And prior to getting to Tyndall, how much experience did you have with like hurricanes or working with natural disasters like this?
So with hurricanes, like I said, being at Langley, we saw these fairly frequently. Slightly different at Langley because the big concern there was still the potential for damaging winds. But Langley's big issue is that it's right on the water like we are. But for most of the base, pretty low lying, whereas Tyndall, you've kind of got a ridge that most of our facilities sit on. And so not as much of a concern with storm surge, but Langley has been flooded many times over the years.
Let's go back to the dorms. So yes, they're super strong, but let's say you do put out an evacuation notice. What if there are airmen in the dorms that do not have a means of transportation or evacuation? How would the leadership team handle that?
Yeah, and that will be a factor, right? There'll be airmen that don't have a car. So looking to squadron commanders and squadrons to figure out a solution there. What I would expect and what I've seen in the past is that they will partner up with people that do have a car. They'll evacuate together, and that's how they'll get the ride. Worst case scenario, we've got a family or other people that we can't figure that out for. We can figure out transportation.
That's right. Don't stay in the dorms and have a hurricane party. I know it's a really nice dorm building, but don't do that. If Colonel B says to leave, please leave.
Yeah, don't stick around. Don't stick around.
Yeah. About that, like, what are like the actual rules for evacuation? You have to evacuate if that's the order, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
But if you put out the evacuation notice, that means like their travel is reimbursed, correct?
Yeah. So if an evacuation order is issued and it applies to you wherever you live, and that could be defined in a variety of different ways. It could be defined by county. It could be defined by anybody working or residing on Tyndall. But if it applies to you, then yes, there are reimbursements that you'll receive for essentially per diem, so food and then lodging.
What's the recommended evacuation distance?
It's going to vary from storm to storm.
Okay.
And we would hope people would take a look at a map and look at where that storm track is going, and they would avoid that area versus picking a place that they would like to go. And
Picking a place way far away.
Go to Miami. No, I'm just
well, we're going to limit it, right? Because the other responsibility I have is once the storm is passed, once the danger is passed, is to get the installation and our mission back up and running as soon as possible. With Hurricane Helene, there's a good reason I think people assume that once it goes inland that it's going to weaken and there's going to be no problems. So last year, Friday after Helene passed, we had a good assessment. Everything was fine on base.
On the note of Helene, is there a specific storm where you were like proud of the 325th Airmen and how we responded?
Yeah, so we looked at we kept an eye on 3 different storms last year. Helene's the one where we did the most preparation. Yeah, and I think the wing did a pretty good job in the decisions we made and the preparations we had leading into the season. So yeah, I think that one went pretty well all around.
Yeah, I think when things get serious, our team really picks it up and does not mess around. We get the job done and we move on and evaluate everything and make it better next time. All right, to round it out, sir, what is your number 1 priority when it comes to hurricane season?
So 2 priorities. One is education, and then number 2, obviously, preparation. Education being a big highlight because of Tyndall's history with Hurricane Michael. And I think that generates a lot of angst and a lot of outside opinions. And what we saw last year is that a lot of people weigh in on social media about what hurricanes mean for Tyndall, and a lot of it's just inaccurate. And I think it generates a lot of angst and a lot of concern that is really unnecessary. I think if we think about individual safety, we're going to make a smart decision on whether people should evacuate or not.
I think another part of that is the people who were here during Michael, they have PTSD. I've heard some stories, and it's, it's like a war veteran who hears fireworks kind of scenario. They hear the thunder, they hear the lightning, they hear hurricane warnings. They're going to get upset and emotional. So I think that's part of it too.
For sure.
All right, Colonel Bergtholdt, thank you so much for stopping by and talking to us about hurricanes.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Welcome back, everybody. We're with our next special guest, Lieutenant Colonel Alan Lewis. He is the 325th Civil Engineer Squadron Commander. And also, when our Emergency Operations Center stands up, he is the EOC Director. So welcome to the show, sir.
Awesome. Thanks. Good to be here.
Is it weird hearing your own voice?
It is weird hearing my own voice.
It sounds different on a mic, right?
How long have you been at Tyndall, sir?
So I have had the luxury of being here for the past 3 years. So I got here in 22, and I was actually on the kind of rebuild construction element. So that's called AFCAC National Disaster Recovery Division. Mm-hmm. When I first got here, I was in the response operations side of the house. So that is a unit that they had generated post-Hurricane Michael to respond to kind of the next natural disaster to support that installation with the more detailed engineering assessments and bring that expert team in to support an installation that is in shambles. They're trying to take care of their families, and their focus is on just simply kind of putting pieces back together. This team would go in and kind of support that. So I had the opportunity to go respond to Tampa post-storm a couple of years ago. And then we went out to Little Rock. They got an ice storm. So it's not just hurricane related. If an installation gets hit with a wildfire or ice or tornadoes, things like that. So this team could go respond to that. And then, so I went from that, and then for a year, I did a lot of the kind of rebuild construction. So we have a massive Tyndall rebuild going on here, close to $4 billion or so here on the installation, and then some other installations as well. So I've been doing that for a year, and then I was able to take over command this past May, or a year ago May. And I've been in the seat. So I've been through one hurricane season as the commander. As you mentioned, we had Hurricane Helene and Milton were two storms that we went through. Hurricane 5 down to, for Helene, we went all the way down to 1 and even did some level of recovery. It went right up and then hit Moody Air Force Base. So that team I mentioned before, that team went up and helped respond to Moody after that.
Oh, yeah.
So, yep, Hurricane Season 2 for me as the commander/EOC director. So
how do you like it so far?
It's a mixed bag, right? So, I don't want a disaster to happen, but it is the time that, all focus is on that. So it's kind of nice in a way of 100% focus is on kind of taking care of that mission, responding, and the team that I support can really shine.
Yeah. And you also have your wife who works with you, correct?
Absolutely. So I have my lovely wife is also a GS civil engineer. So she works in the same Tyndall rebuild program. She's in charge of the F-35 bed down, largest milk con in
that's
at least
so
recent
big.
history. So definitely proud of that. And she's doing a fantastic job ensuring that mission is stood up.
Yep. She is so smart and so sweet. I love his wife. So far, you've been at Tyndall for a while. What is your favorite part about Tyndall Air Force Base for all the new people that have just joined us here?
It's a pretty tight-knit community. So we still have obviously a lot going on the installation, and there's a lot of impacts, across, but taking on the role, coming into the commander seat, the kind of the tight-knit community with the commanders, the tight-knit community with the officers around here, and it's a kind of small town feel. So it came from Scott Air Force Base, kind of St. Louis, kind of that bigger feel, but you come here and it has kind of like a small town atmosphere. We've had a chance to be out in the local area for a lot of baseball and that interaction, and so the general populace out there's a lot of support to Tyndall Air Force Base, and a lot of almost every one of them have some sort of connection.
How long does hurricane peak season last until?
It goes until November. So from June to November is the full season. Early on in the season, you see a lot more kind of out in the middle of the Atlantic. And then later in the season, the Caribbean and the Gulf heat up. So
So tell us a little bit about the EOC. Like, how do you guys put it together? Like, who's in it? What does it do? Get into a little bit of the general knowledge of the EOC.
Yeah, so back in 2004, the National Incident Management System went live kind of post 9/11, and that's what created the structure of what the EOC is now. The Air Force adopted it a few years later as the Air Force Incident Management System, and so that is the full of emergency operations. So we align the same way that our counterparts on the outside. So for like Bay County, their EOC has what are called emergency support functions, so ESFs. And so we have members that kind of fill each one of those roles, and some of those are engineering, firefighting, logistics, public affairs, things along those lines. And so members of our installation are assigned to those functions, and there's a handful of folks who will be trained on each one of those. And when we have any type of, whether it's natural disaster, it could be anything from multi-car wreck or something on the installation, if it's affecting multiple things, a fuel spill, aircraft crash, anything like that, we could stand up the Emergency Operations Center. And depending on the incident, we'll stand up everybody. And then if we only need, say, fuels or LRS and CE to deal with an aircraft crash, then we wouldn't need everybody. But for hurricane season, it's all hands on deck.
Yeah. It is, when we're doing our HURX exercises, it is a packed house in that building, right?
Absolutely. So it's not even just the 325th and our units, it's all the tenant units on the installation, their missions and their representation. So it is a full packed house, and there's a whole lot of things and preparation that go into the preseason and then obviously during an event.
Yeah. And we've been doing a lot of hurricane exercises lately because Colonel Bergtholdt is very strict on we need to be ready if something happens, because last year with Helene it got kind of dicey there for a while, right?
It did. So I mean, obviously looking at it, it's coming kind of close to us, and there's a lot of decision points on obviously evacuation comes into play, or aircraft, people or equipment, and there's only so much time you have to make those decisions to either get those off the installation or secure them and ride out a storm. Yeah.
Speaking of riding out the storm, because you're the EOC director, that means you have to stay here, right?
Absolutely. So we have a team called the Ride Out Element, and that's a handful of those ESF functions and critical functions that we would need to immediately do some sort of recovery. We kind of have three main goals as far as establishing just security of the installation, assessing the airfield, and then just infrastructure, whether it's roads, facilities, doing kind of that initial assessment. But no matter what the storm is, that team is prepared to ride out in our new MilCon EOC that just opened this. This is the first season that we'll have it. So this past exercise was the first time we got to really utilize that for our EOC operations in that HERX. And that location can bed down that entire team and support them through that event.
Have you seen that building yet, Naeem?
I actually haven't been there, but I saw the pictures. They look
Oh my
pretty nice.
God, it's so nice. Even like the bunk room where you guys have to stay, that seems pretty decent. I mean, it's not decent. Like you have to sleep with a bunch of people that you work with every day, but
It's nice, bunk beds. It's
yeah,
it's got backup generation, so we've got that.
it's got like a chef's kitchen.
It does have a pretty nice
That's
little kitchen.
crazy.
I've used a few things in there, but definitely need to get in there and use those.
I know you mentioned what ride-out elements are. What about BREs?
So that is the kind of additional capability that we have called the base recovery element. We have 5 different teams that are on that. There's a mixture of engineers on that team for damage assessment. We have communications troops that'll go out and assess our communications infrastructure. We've got security forces, and then just a smattering of other individuals that could support, whether it's LRS for forklifts or equipment operators. What that team is designed to do is post-event, they're the ones that can actually kind of clear the roads and do, the ride-out element can do the assessment, and they're the ones that can actually take care of some of that initial response. Depending on the category of hurricane, there's a sort of a decision point in that preparation, whether or not to take that team and their equipment off the installation to protect that, and then bring those back into that to support, or whether or not they ride out here on the installation.
Speaking of cats, so I think a lot of civilian followers are not comprehending, like they see us post HERCON 1, HERCON 2, but I feel like we get cross-communicated because they're also watching Cat 1, Cat 2. So can you explain to our listeners what the difference is between a CAT and a HERCON?
Absolutely. So the category is actually something that's designated for the storm itself. That is all generated from the National Hurricane Center, and that's tied to the wind speed, the sustained wind speed of the storm. I believe Hurricane 1 is around that 70 mile per hour mark, and it goes up from there to, I believe it's 155 would get to that Cat 5. So as that wind speed goes up, that actually changes the category of the storm. Hurricane is based on the timing of when that storm is projected to be in our area, and that's tied to when damaging winds would be on the installation. So Hurricane 5 is 96 hours prior to when that storm is projected to hit our installation. We would have the discussion, and in and around that time frame, we could go into a Hurricane 5 stance here on the installation, and then it goes down from there. I believe it's that 72 hours, 48 hours, 24, and Hurricane 1 is about 12 hours from that storm and those damaging winds. And that's where we don't have to get down to that if the storm shifts, and we no longer expect to get either the damaging or tropical storm force winds. We could go from 5-4 to 3, and then that storm shifts to the right. We're no longer expecting those. We don't have to get to 2 or 1.
Right.
So prior to getting to Tyndall, what experience did you have with like hurricanes? Like how eye-opening was it? Especially taking
Zero.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you're an engineer, aren't you?
I am a mechanical engineer.
Yeah.
Zero interaction with hurricanes. So from Arkansas originally, don't know hurricanes really. Get over into that area, and duty stations out in Hawaii, no hurricanes. Ended up coming to that area at the time with a tsunami warning a few times, but then went to Davis-Monthan, so no hurricanes there, and Scott doesn't have it now. Flooding, so there's some similarities as far as storm surge / flooding. Scott had a lot of issues there, so the recovery from that there's some similarities, but it doesn't have the warning and preparation and all of the actions that come with it. So very eye-opening first time.
For first-timers, like what are some pieces of advice you would give to people just like PCSing here or people straight out of tech school?
So one of the number one things, our squadron, so the emergency management section, our flight of my squadron does a hurricane brief. It goes through, what the hurricane is, all the, what cats, hurricanes, how to get prepared from your family, understanding what you'll need for the season. So 100% recommend. They do a fantastic job. They'll come out to your unit. Anybody's invited. So families, dependents, active duty, any of that can come and listen in those briefs. So that was kind of eye-opening on all the things. So I've got a hurricane kit in my house.
Yep.
Obviously, I'm on that ride-out element. So we've had a lot of discussions with my wife. She'll have to leave with the kids.
Yeah.
So for example, Hurricane Helene, during that, I had booked her a hotel. We had the plan, the vehicle ready. It was packed. We didn't have to execute and leave, but it was really ready to go. During the season, taking care of your family is paramount. So there's always a discussion on whether or not you're going to get reimbursed for travel, whether or not an evacuation order is issued or not. So understanding what those are and what that limitation is. But ultimately, if I felt that my family needed to go, I would send them.
So when you, Colonel Bergtholdt, the rest of 325th leadership are up there discussing, what is the most important thing that you guys keep in mind while you're making these decisions for the entirety of Team Tyndall?
A lot of it goes into the timing of making those decisions, ensuring that people have enough time to get to a safe location. So the big one is always whether or not to evacuate.
Right.
So going into an evacuation is inherently putting people in a little bit of a danger, because if the entire area is evacuating, there's a lot of folks on the road. You can get stuck on the road if that decision is made kind of too late. You're actually in a worse position than if you were at the installation.
Right.
So looking at those storms, and the models have gotten a whole lot better as far as the track of the storm and how it impacts and on what side of the storm. And there is a ton of data that gets presented, and it doesn't always get to everybody. And I know that's why Colonel B has gone out and done a lot of that communication and trying to provide all of that data that comes into it. So there's a lot that feeds into it, and it's not just a quick decision, and there's an understanding that there's lives involved in every one of them. It's a challenge of making that right call at the right time.
Yeah. And now that you're the commander of pretty much the squadron that takes control of a natural disaster, like you have the firefighters, you have the HVAC guys, you have, who am I missing?
You have also generators, generator mechanics,
structures.
We have anything to do with roads, so our dirt boys that would be going out there doing sweepers.
You have all the critical people,
other than like security forces or LRS, medical too. So there's still quite a few others, but yes.
Yeah. You have like the heavy hitters
of our squadron is involved in this recovery.
So what is your like biggest concern as the CE commander? Should, knock on particle board, a hurricane come and your guys have to mobilize, like what is the big concern for you?
Well, the biggest concern, or ensuring that their families and the folks that would be evacuating without them are taken care of.
Yeah.
So we go through a whole lot of checklist and a lot of data gathering during the time. So one of the things that we do is ensure that, does their family member have a financial means to evacuate and go to a safe haven location without their significant other? Do the deployed members of my squadron have the same thing, and are they taken care of? So that is the biggest kind of challenge that we have is, like I said, most of them will be here on either that ride-out element, or either initially staying with that base recovery element, or that even if that BRE evacuates, they're one of the first ones coming back without their significant others. So it's a lot to ensure that all of that is taken care of, all while managing the disaster. So the balance between the EOC director and the squadron commander, those are two separate roles and difficult to do in the moment. So I rely heavily on my DO, so my director of operations, and I've got a great team of flight chiefs to help support that, and it's a challenge during each one of these.
Yeah, but you heard it here first, everybody. The commanders care more about the people than the jets, okay? Leave them alone.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right, Colonel Lewis, thank you so much for stopping by and talking to us all things hurricane. I hope this wasn't as nerve-wracking as you thought it would be.
It is not. It's good. Glad to be here.
All right, we'll see you next time, sir, and stick around for our next episode, everyone.